before Croud, you worked for Google for 16 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And in fact, you were part of the team that launched Google Analytics, which is still today the market leader in web analytics software. How did you unlock the power of machine learning to realize Google's marketing strategies?
Yes. So it's really great. At Google, I had 3 roles. So I started with working very closely with the product team to launch tools. Google Analytics was one of them, and I spent a bunch of time in sales, figuring out how to take data and activate value for Google's top 150 clients, people who spend tons of money. And I started sort of an internal Bain McKinsey type consulting company inside Google.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 5 years, I spent working in marketing, using all that lessons on Google's marketing itself. So I'll give you 2 answers, the first and the third one. Inside Google Analytics, once we launched Google Analytics 2.0 and 3.0, one of the things a key lesson for me is that availability of data makes companies less smart than I had expected.
Mm.
So now you got all the data you wanted, all nice reports, beautifully organized, great visual design. And let's say companies become 20% more data-driven. And begin to realize that this assumption that there is necessary experience and intelligence at the other end in analytics is flawed. A lot of people who got all this data, they still had to poke and prod and dig and segment and custom report and find the things they needed.
Mm.
And our users necessarily didn't have all those skills because they have many other jobs to do. So one of my first forays into using machine learning is we launched a feature called intelligence inside Google Analytics. And so it's like a tab, you click on it. And my first discussion with the engineers was, I don't want a dashboard that just shows all the performance. I want a dashboard that tells our users, look at these things only. Don't look at everything. Only these things matter. Mm. So we started to use simple statistic to say, these elements we're surfacing are 3 standard deviations away from the mean, or 2.
Right.
Or, by the way, you could move the slider and make it 7 standard deviations away from the mean if you wanted to, and see just the most extreme occurrences inside the data. And so what happened is it increased usage a lot more because we were thinking for you and surfacing you from the channels you should look at, the pages you should look at, the KPIs you should look at. And that one page became like a portal to digging in, where we're sort of holding your hand and taking you into the tool. It had 80 reports, too many, right? So that was the first foray into it. And then next thing we did was even more interesting. We were, for example, really good at helping people understand what is your current revenue, conversions, average order value, abandonment rate. But I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we could predict the future? So we launched like a set of tools based on some very simple machine learning algorithms in hindsight that would understand your revenue growth and things like that today and say, this is how we anticipate you'll end the quarter on. So they say, I've made $500,000 already. We're predicting based on all the factors we're analyzing, tons of factors, that you'll end up at 750. Well, your target was $1 million. And now you can go do something about it. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to fall 250 short of my target, and you could take action. So very simple predictive analytics. The next one was even more fun. We started to look at hundreds of millions of rows of data and consumer journeys, and by every anonymous cookie, we would predict users more likely to convert in the next X amount of time, Y amount of time, or Z amount of time. So now, rather than looking at all these hundreds of thousands of people, because the average conversion rate for a website is something like 2%. So 98% of people are not going to convert. Now, it is extraordinarily valuable to know in that 98% bucket, is there a cohort that is more likely to convert over the next 7 days? Because then I can segment them out and I can figure out how to do marketing to them in a different way because they have exhibited behavior that they are more likely to convert. So I don't have to spam 96%. I can just do 2%. These are 2%. Let me just figure out how to deliver relevant advertising. So that was the next foray into machine learning.
That interestingly, that sounds to me like the incrementality.
Yeah.
These were 2 different kinds of approaches for identifying this maybe very small segment that are very likely to convert, and so targeting them really effectively.
Yes, exactly. It's figuring out how to drive hyper relevance and give in a way, reduce the amount of money you're spending on marketing, but the money you're spending will have higher ROI. Because otherwise, what you would do is annoy 98 people to get to those 2. Now we're saying, no, you can just pull them out of the audience, spend less money, but do something relevant for those 2. And I think the thing that I think the last bit that was I'm super proud of is, on an average interaction, let's say you bought this gorgeous shirt and pants.
Lululemon, actually.
Yes. Oh, me too. No, I'm not kidding. It's actually Lululemon. So we're both Canadians today. But let's say you bought a shirt on Lululemon. It's unlikely that you bought it after seeing one of their ads or one visit to the site. You probably saw an ad. You probably saw something on Facebook. You probably saw something else on Google, whatever. And the outcome of your purchase on Lululemon was this complex collection of interactions. And yet most of the credit, if Lululemon was analyzing that outcome, would say, he clicked on a Facebook ad, converted, let's spend more on Facebook. No. It was Facebook plus. And so the last bit of machine learning that we did, that continues to be one of the most bleeding edge things inside Google Analytics, is to do data-driven attribution.
Right.
Because it is almost impossible to figure out on Lululemon's website, across literally millions of people coming to the site with billions of touch points that they will have had prior to coming to the website, what is actually working. And that's exactly the kind of thing you want to hand over to a machine learning algorithms, because no human can visualize, understand, analyze that much complexity. So we built something in Google Analytics. The team has built something into Google Analytics called data-driven attribution. And it uses machine learning to figure out how to plot these journeys. And in the end, help tell Lululemon, you should spend X amounts on Facebook, you spend Y amounts on Google, you spend Z amounts on TikTok, and you should spend Q amounts on something else. And it allows you to do more effective marketing aligned with real consumer behavior rather than a theory in your head about how marketing actually works.